two big road wins and heading to an important trip in New York. What's kind of the mindset of the team at this point?
This is a huge trip for us. Good 3-game win streak against some quality opponents. We got some guaranteed game wins, and now we played two quality opponents in New York, and I think both in the CAA conference. So it's going to be another tough road swing for us before we get to come back home for one game. All right.
Coach, can you take us through the incident that happened this weekend in Illinois State from your perspective?
From my perspective, you saw it. What happened? You tell me.
It looked like there was an interaction between a fan and Jamari from that point.
Yeah, Jamari. The situation at Illinois State was an unfortunate situation because it was actually a good basketball game. It was a really good atmosphere. It was sold out in there. Two teams that are really good teams competing, and the situation kind of took away from the outcome, which was a win for us, which was like a guaranteed win for us, a Missouri Valley win for us. So with that being said, Jamari, he got fouled. He was getting fouled a lot, honestly, that game. He got fouled. There was interaction between him and someone in the front row, and someone in the front row said a racial slur to him. Me being the coach that he knows that I am, I was telling him stop interacting with the crowd because that's one of my things, to stay focused. He told me that, no, the coach, he said a racial slur towards me, so that's why you can see on the video, it went straight from like being calm to like 0 to 100 to like going towards the fan. And then I told the referee while I was going over there, and that's hence why I didn't get a technical foul for going on the court, because the referee knew the situation of what was going on. On the flip side, the other coach was begging for me to get a technical foul because he was trying to manufacture points any way he could. And I went back to the sideline, and what I said to him was that one of your fans just called my player a racial slur, called him the N-word, and you can see my mouth saying that on the video. He says, I don't care, I don't care, I don't care. And I tell him that you cannot say that you don't care about one of my players being called the N-word. Now this is beyond basketball now at this point. So, that's when we were kind of toe to toe. He backed up a little bit or whatever. I would have too, probably. But he went back a little bit, and then that's what happened really. And then the referees came to us, and I was telling them over and over that they said that the coach said he didn't care. The referee said, I know, I understand, but you got to just calm down for me. And then we just finished the game, and that was it. Honestly, it was like probably a 2-minute situation that now turned into this. You guys don't be here that much.
The school said that they've already heard from Illinois State that they acknowledged an apology and that they were looking forward to an investigation. Have you yourself heard from anybody from Illinois State since then?
Well, the coach reached out to me. Okay. He reached out to me on, we played on Saturday. So Sunday morning we were on a layover in Chicago. And to be totally honest with you, I saw the name come across the phone. I don't have his number, but with the new technology, when you can see, a call ID type thing, it said Pete on or however you say his name. And I didn't answer, because for me, you had 4 opportunities to make it right in person. So let's not make it right now when 6 million people have seen the video. Now you get all types of flack from the media and the public and things like that. You had a chance to make it right when I was confronting you at half court. When you said that you didn't hear me, you had a chance to make it right on the handshake line when you told me. Now, he did say that he didn't hear what I was saying, right? So what I said to him was that, why did you say you don't care if you didn't hear what I said? So what did you think I said, And now he didn't say anything, couldn't say anything. So that's the second time you had a chance to make it right. Third time, after digesting what I said, as you walk back to the locker room through the tunnel, now, as a coach, a reputable coach, you said, damn, that happened, all right? Let me walk around to the locker room and say, on an apology on the behalf of Illinois State and us, that's not how we conduct ourselves, and we're sorry to you guys. That's the third time. Then the fourth time he had a chance to make it right was the press conference. And then he just went into that he's Italian and he's fiery and things like that, So that's no excuse. So at no point, even the apology the statement that he made yesterday, there was no apology about anything with the racial slurs. So I can't respect that, and I probably will never talk to him, to be honest with you.
Coach, it's 2023. Why do you think stuff like this still happens when it is only just a game? It's so much deeper than a game. Why do you think stuff like this still happens?
I mean, because no matter what happens, like as far as like the way we think times have changed, there's still a pocket of people that haven't changed, you know, and I do think that the majority of people have changed. You know, I do feel that in my heart that the majority of people have changed, but there's still a pocket of people that haven't changed. And so now we get the racial slurs, and you know, and those guys, when they got kicked out, you saw they had beers and stuff in their hands, so maybe they had a little bit one too many to drink, and you know, they had maybe a little truth serum for them, you know, that stuff came out, you know, but it's an unfortunate situation, and I don't think that the whole Illinois State fan base is like that, you know, by any means, because after the game, there was a lot of people that was very complimentary of our team. With people, you know, shaking my hand, saying, hey, you guys are really good, you know, good luck in the season and things like that on the way out, you know, so that was, you know, cool, you know, to get the respect of the fans. So I don't think it was everybody, but there is still a small pocket of people in this country that racism still exists, and I think that was one of the situations that we experienced.
Between resuming the game and then after the game when your tweet kind of went viral a little bit, how do you, I guess, galvanize the guys and keep them level-headed in a situation like that? Because I can only imagine what that locker room was like emotionally after a moment like that.
Yeah, after the game, I mean, you know, to be, you know, I don't really, I'm not the most emotional guy, you know, but like it's like talking to the guys, you almost shed a tear because it's like even though you know it's out there, you know, I can't say I experience racism on a day-to-day basis. I'll be lying to you, you know, but you know it's out there. But then to experience it, you know, firsthand, you know, it is a little emotional, you know, to like, I can't believe this is happening during a basketball game. We're just here to play basketball. You know, like, we're just here to play basketball. The thing that bothers me a little bit more is that, yes, the tweet went viral, and it actually was just a tweet saying I support my players, so it wasn't even anything too crazy, but it went viral, and probably about 90% of the people who have responded to that tweet, you know, the mentions and things like that, because the phone is still buzzing. The phone's probably buzzing right now in my office, have been super positive. You know, they said we support Norfolk State. Both black, white, or indifferent have said that, you know. But it's that 10% that the messages you get that, you know, people are saying that we made this up. You know, like, what do we have to make this up for? We didn't have to make an excuse. We were winning the whole game. There's no excuse to be made about winning the whole game. You know, they're saying that this didn't happen. You know, the blacks are trying to be victims again and things like that. It's like, a kid is not trying to make this stuff up. I'm not trying to make this stuff up for clicks or anything like that. I got enough followers. I don't need any clicks or anything, you know, like that. So that's probably the most disappointing part. Then also people would say about, you know, well, you know, you guys use the word, you know, in everyday language or rap music or this or whatever the case is. And the thing I say with that is that there's a lot of different races in this world. And there's some things that Chinese people can say to each other that I can't say to a Chinese person. There's some things that Latinos can say to each other that I can't say to a Latino person. So you gotta know your boundaries about what you can say to who you dealing with. You gotta know the audience, you gotta know the room. So you can't say, because sometimes those guys use that word, you know, loosely, you know, that it's okay for you to use it because we know where that word came from and that wasn't a fun term, you know, back then.
How has Jamari handled the last 48, 72 hours? Obviously, you know, he finished the game with a career high in 31 points, so I feel like he, you know, kind of it rolled off of him, you know, in the moment. But how has he, you know, handled the last couple of days?
Jamari is a super competitor, you know, so I think honestly, he was disappointed, but by the time the post game happened with the celebration and stuff like that, I can't say he don't care anymore, but the care is very minute, you know, for him, you know, and it's an unfortunate situation because, you know, being an African American young man or older man, I'm not that old, but you know, older man, right? It's like you've experienced different things like that before. So even though it was disheartening to have it at a basketball game, it wasn't just so shocking that it's like tearing people's souls down because somewhere you've experienced it somewhere else. So and that's the unfortunate part that we're talking about with this question, you know, that's going on. So I think that, you know, we're all looking forward to Stony Brook. We're all looking forward to the next opponent. We're happy to get that win. You know, we try to break the season up into thirds. So we basically finished the first third of the season. So now we're saying, you know, out there we're 7-3, which is great for us, but now we're 0-0 again. And now that start of the season just happens to come after such a big incident like this. I mean, like what, 6.3 million people see your videos, right? 6.3? 7 million? No, I shortchanged you.
That's fine.
7 million. That's a lot of views,
paid for
man.
it, it's fine.
Yeah, I know. You ain't never get 7 million views, Najee.
Ron, how much do you think something like this is a symptom of the behavior of some leaders, nationally, state level, locally? Do people feel entitled to act like morons?
Yeah, I think so, and to not, get so deep political, in here, but I do think that, some political views of different candidates that we've had presently or in the past have maybe enabled some thoughts to be able to be a little bit more, prevalent than they were before, so I do think that, Dave, to be honest with you, and it's unfortunate, it's unfortunate that people think they could just say or do anything, and the thing that I say too is that, I'm trying to say this as nice as possible, is that, because we're in a basketball game, there's 4,000 people in there, there's 100 police in there, and things like that, people think they can say things and get away with it, that they're not gonna be able to say if it was just us walking down the street, and that's the part that kind of bothers you, because it's like, you're gonna say something derogatory, you're gonna say something with a racial slur, because you know that nothing really is gonna happen in here, like, nothing's really gonna happen, so you feel like it's okay to let your feelings be known, because obviously that's a feeling. You can't, like, I'm not gonna call you a racial slur if I don't really feel that way, and things like that. So it's like, those three gentlemen really felt that way. And to go back to the coach, for him still not to apologize about that, it's like, what do you think those three people got kicked out of the crowd for? They didn't get kicked out for cheering, They didn't get kicked out for saying go Norfolk State. The referees told us why they got kicked out the arena, So something happened. Right? Something happened. I mean, people don't get kicked out of here for cheering. People say bad things to me in here, they stay in here. Fire the coach, put him out, and something like that. People still stay in here, right? So something had to be tremendous for those people to be put out of an environment like that. And it was like, a throwback alumni game, or something like that going on. I don't know. Doug Collins was there, all types of stuff going on there. So,
And Coach, kind of on that same vein, you talk about all the police there, the crowd, it kind of changes how people think they can act. Do you feel like generally when athletes kind of enter the field or enter the court, there's a dehumanizing to maybe some of the people watching? Have you noticed that?
I think a lot of times, unfortunately, and I tell my guys this, fans, it's really short for the word fanatic, and fanatic is borderline crazy, to a certain extent. So fans are gonna say, they think they can say whatever they wanna say. And it's like, because, I guess before when we used to wear, coaches used to wear shirt and ties and suits and stuff like that, and the players are just, wearing their uniforms, you think that we're not people, like, this is just my profession. That's just what those guys do. We're people and we have different triggers as well, just as humans, just like how you would have a different trigger, they would have a different trigger. So you can't just say anything to a player or to a coach and not think it's gonna be any kind of repercussions. I think that a lot of times fans think because they paid their $20, $30, $40 or whatever the case is, that they could go and say anything. And your $20 is not worth dehumanizing me. Your $20 is not worth saying anything you want to me. It's just not, it's not worth that. And that's what fans need to understand.
And then you already spoke about it, but just another chance in this forum. How'd you feel like the officials handled the situation?
I think the officials were great. That's the one part I think that was great over there. The officials was great. The officials came in. They let myself and coach, know what was going on. They also, when we did come together, they broke it up quickly. That's why nobody, cleared the bench or people got off the bench, but there was no fighting and stuff like that. And the thing I would say too, even though both teams kind of got off the bench, right? It wasn't a situation that we dealt with before, like when people leaving the bench and all of a sudden it's a technical foul. People knew the severity of the situation and the officials understood that, so no one got anything. No one got ejected or for leaving the bench or technical foul or anything like that, because it was a deep situation in there that was really bigger than basketball. And the thing it was an African American official there, Irving, I forgot his last name, and and throughout the course, you can see that after that incident, his whole demeanor changed. Not saying the way he officiated changed, because he actually did a pretty good job. All three of them did a great job. But you can see that it was like, come on now. What are we doing right now? Because he sees the whole thing. He sees the comments from the fans. He sees me talking to the coach about what happened. He sees the whole thing. And it put a damper on him as well, too. The only thing he told me on the way out, he said he's going to let the whole conference know exactly what happened. Because they should know what happened, with the interactions and things like that.
Coach, do you want what happened to stop here, or do you want to use it as an educating purpose for people out there?
Well, I wanted to stop to a certain extent of, we got to go past it. We got to look forward to the next part of the season. I think this team, if we stay on the right path, we can do something special this year. Right now, like I said, we're 7-3. I'm not quite sure where that ranks at with the best 10-game start. Only Alex would know, but I know that I've been here a long time, and that's one of the better starts that we've had. Even last year, we were 6-4 to start the first 10 games, and we had all these guys coming back and things, like that. So, but I do think it should be a lesson to everybody. It should be a lesson to fans that you just can't say anything. It should be a lesson to people that want to, like I said, want to say that, well, you guys say this or this, whatever. Like, you can't say it. I mean, bottom line, you can't say it. I don't care what you think, you can. And I know things are, some, rap music is all over, hip hop music is all over, and blacks, whites, Latinos, everybody say, different things. But you can't say that to me. Bottom line. Just like I probably couldn't call you something that maybe one of your friends would joke around with you with. And that's just the way it is. So hopefully it's a lesson that the whole world can see, because I mean, it seems like a lot of the world has seen this. And just, for fans, you just can't say anything you want in the crowd. It's not right. And lastly, with like the coach and things like that, hopefully it's a lesson that, we get 2 ears and 1 mouth, right? Maybe you should listen more than you speak, because you were speaking at a situation that you claim that you didn't hear what I said. Well, maybe you should hear what I'm saying, because honestly, I had no problems with the coach or Illinois State basketball, So why would I be coming to scream at you? That doesn't make any sense. So what are you screaming at me for? Because I'm not coming to scream at you. I'm just mad about the situation that's happened at Illinois State during that game, right? So maybe you should listen more than you speak, and we won't have some of the situations that we have right now.
Coach, you've talked about it now. This tweet has gotten 6 million views. Were you surprised at how much this thing took off, considering, like you just said earlier, you were just simply trying to defend your player at that point?
Super surprised, honestly. Like, super surprised. I know I'm joking with Najee about, 7 million views and stuff, and I've never had that many people. I mean, I've had different tweets that kind of went out there and stuff like that, and, Najee makes little different videos of me doing different things that kind of go viral, but it's like never like that. And so, and then it went, from there to use the Twitter platforms to ESPN.com to this, to that, and it just kind of like just crescendo. And I'm just like, what's going on? But I think also that just shows that, people are interested in this topic. People know that this topic happens a lot, and it just happened to happen for us during this game. So the thing I would like to say is that, once again, is that something negative happened, to us. But we got to be positive too. We are 7-3. We have a good basketball team. We're number 23 last week in the mid-major poll. This week we should be up a little bit more, right? So we do have a good basketball program, and I don't want this thing to overshadow that we have a really good basketball program.
I was actually going to ask about that, just in terms of the start and the group of guys and the quality wins that you guys have had this year. Obviously, you said this is one of the best starts. Where has this group of guys ranked for you since you've coached here?
I think our depth probably ranks the best. We don't have a lot of, Jamari, of course, is dynamic. B-Trans, to a certain extent, is dynamic too. But we don't have, like last year we had like 4 double-digit guys. And if you look at our stats, it was 4 double-digit guys, and then it was like through the roof, like through the bottom after that, like 4, 3. This year you got 2 double-digit guys, but you got a lot of guys around the 8, 7, 6, 5. We got a lot of guys that could do some things. And then we have great size. We start games 6'10", 6'11". Every game we start games like that. So I do think that it bodes well for us when we do go out of conference. There's no size disadvantage with that. So I like this group of guys, and I think that we can do something special. And the craziest thing about this group of guys is that, we're 7-3 with a couple quality wins, like you said. And honestly, we probably should have beat Wichita too. So, that we would have been 8-2, with 3 really big wins. But we still got 8 new guys. Like, we haven't even found ourselves yet. We got to find, like, probably midway during the season is when we're going to really find ourselves. So I'm excited about the possibilities.
I was going to ask, did you expect this good of a start after losing Chris and Joe last year?
Well, egotistically, I'll probably say yeah. but realistically, I didn't know how the start was going to be. Realistically, I didn't know how the start was going to be. So I'm very, very happy, very, very pleased, for us to go and get these guaranteed game wins, because this is something that, we do this every year as far as playing these games. We don't always win them. Sometimes we do. Sometimes we, run into Houston and lose by 50. Things like that happen. But to get some of these wins, it's really going to, I hope, bode well for us down the stretch, because the thing is that with 8 new guys, the system that you're trying to teach them, they don't really have full confidence in it until they see it. So right now, you know, the guys are seeing it. So like you can see our defensive numbers are starting to pick up. You know, our offense is starting to pick up a little bit because guys are believing in what we're saying. You know, before it was like, yeah, coach, I got you. You know, I understand. You know, you guys won before. I understand. Blah blah blah. But now they're seeing how to win, and that the stuff that we talk about does work to win.
Well, one of those new guys is Jamari. We talked about last week how he's even kind of exceeded expectations. Is there anything new you learned about him with the way he handled this situation in particular?
You know, Jamari's like a little villain, you know, honestly. You know, I mean, he's a guy that, you know, he's a small guy in stature, you know, but he has a big heart, you know, and he can play. So he's a guy that, you know, people say stuff to him in the crowd, you know, and not stuff like what happened at Illinois State, but just little stuff, oh, you suck, the normal fan stuff, right? And that almost fuels him to like show you that I don't suck, you know, show you that, you know, things like that. So I'm really excited about his, like, you know, his future, you know, for us. And with him having 2 years here, you know, hopefully he can do something real special. But just with him, the way he handled the situation, because, you know, honestly, he was probably a lot calmer than I would have been in this situation, you know, like, you know, and I mean, clearly I was, you know, you saw, right? But, you know, with him, you know, once he came over to me and, you know, he told the official and he told me, and then, you know, his teammates know or whatever, stuff like that. Yeah, he was kind of like in the forefront of like even like the head-to-head with me and the coach. He was up there, but he was up there just in support. He wasn't up there trying to get a piece of anybody because once again, Illinois State did nothing to us. Like Illinois State basketball program did nothing to us, you know, and I want to be clear on that. You know, even Coach Peter, like he did nothing to me. You know, it's just like I didn't like his reaction to what I was trying to tell him. You know, and that's what it was.
Christian Ings had a pretty devastating end of last season, I think in January. What have you liked about the way he's come back, and do you feel like he's 100% yet, or is he still kind of finding his way back about him?
He's finding his way. I think he's about probably 90. You know, and honestly, with him, 90 is pretty solid. You know, he had an amazing dunk at VCU, and then you know he's been playing well. And, you know, he had a key 3-pointer and one over at Illinois State. So I think that you'll see the best basketball for him at the right time. You know, I think you're gonna see the best basketball right around MEAC season. And that's what we need, everybody to be playing their best basketball. Right now, this is cool. This gets fanfare. This gets, you know, beating some of these out-of-conference teams. You know, we can talk our talk, talk a little trash, you know, stuff like that. But really, we need to make sure that we're solid about MEAC season.
If you talk to somebody like Cornbread Maxwell, this probably wasn't news when he was playing.
Who the hell is Cornbread Maxwell, man? Who is that?
The Hall of Famer.
I don't know who that is. I'm 44 years old, Dave. You talking about somebody that's
Dr. J.
Dr. J?
Yeah.
Okay, all right, I know Dr. J.
Like
Cornbread Maxwell.
Those guys heard stuff like this all the time. Is there some progress to be found in the fact that this is news?
Yeah, that's what like, I think that there has been progress made in society. You know, big progress, you know, but there's still a pocket that basically ruins for everybody. You know, and now we go back into having this situation happen. Because I've coached 400 games, you know, almost here, right? 350, right, Alex? 350 games, right, I've coached, all right? Oh, here, okay. And the thing I'll tell you, this has only happened 2 other times. And unfortunately, the thing that people don't know is that this happened before Illinois State. Like, honestly, I would say that I messed up even playing the game. Because when Coach Brown presented this game to me, what I saw was they gave us $70,000. They're not that good to me, you know? And I was like, okay, this is better than going to play Kansas, right? Let's go play them. But after we beat them, you know, I got texts from Kyle O'Quinn, Rodney McCauley, Jamel Fuentes, all these guys that said, thank you for getting revenge, and they did the same thing to us. This is 2011, 2012 season. So I flipped back, and I was talking to Coach Vickers about this earlier. I forgot that when Kyle O'Quinn was sitting on the bench, they was calling him the N-word when he was sitting on the bench. So this is 11 years later that like some stuff is still happening, which shouldn't be happening.
Was that at Illinois State?
Yeah, that was at Illinois State. So I shouldn't have took the game, honestly. You know, so it's my fault all this happened because I shouldn't have took the game. You know, I remember us playing them, and they actually beat us pretty good back then. You know, that was like the one blip on our radar. That's the same year that we beat Missouri and all that stuff like that. That was like one of the blips on our radar. So, you know, I forgot all about that situation because it's like I don't remember every situation in the 350 games that I coached, you know, and getting that reminder really put a damper a little bit on the win because I'm like, I shouldn't have played this game, you know, I shouldn't have played this basketball game. But you know, to those guys, Kyle O'Quinn and Jamel Fuentes and all those guys like that, we did get some get back, you know, with that win, you know, and things like that, and we're gonna, you know, move forward from here.
With a situation like this, when you're going on a you know two game road slant, does this kind of bring the team closer together when you're going into these two kind of tough games coming up?
Yeah, I think so. And I think the road brings you closer together anyway, because you know you have no choice but to talk to each other, interact with each other. You know, usually distractions from any of your girlfriends, your extra girlfriend, your extra girlfriend, and stuff like that. You know, you got all those types of distractions away from. So it brings you a little closer. But I think the situation will bring us even more close. You know, and now we got two quality opponents. So just because the situation happened is we're close, don't mean that we're going to go up there and now win both games, even though that's the what we want to do. You know, so and I don't want people to think that if we lose the game that this is because it's still lingering. You know, if we win, we win. If we lose, we lose. You know, that's just what it, you know, that's just how I am with the whole situation. So we're gonna go up there and we got Stony Brook first, and we're gonna worry about taking care of them, and then worry about Hofstra after that.
What have you seen from both those teams?
Stony Brook can shoot the ball unlike any other team that we've played this year. They got 3 guys shooting 40% from 3, which is rare, you know, in this day and age. So and they shoot as a team almost 38% from 3, which is a tremendous number collectively. And then Hofstra, Hofstra's one of the better mid-majors in the country. You know, I think, you know, we were 23, they might have been 15 or something like that, 14 or something, maybe something like that. So it's gonna be 2 mid-major powers, you know, battling. But the thing is that we can't look past Stony Brook. I think that everybody knows that Hofstra is pretty good. So we can't have the trap game that, okay, we just beat VCU, Illinois, and now we got the trap game against Stony Brook, and then because we're looking forward to Hofstra game, you know, so we gotta make sure we're solid, and hopefully we got, you know, one more day of preparation and then a shoot around. And hopefully we go out there and get a win.
Were you looking to go and address those fans? Is that where you were going when you left the bench?
You're damn right I was. I mean, yeah, because you're not gonna talk to my players like that. Like those are my guys. Like I know, you know, you were in practice or whatever, and I'm really hard on them basketball wise. You know, I'm really hard on them basketball wise. But hence that's why we get the results that we get. You know, but at the same time, those are my kids. I'm gonna treat those kids as like, you know, like my son Justin, you know, I'm gonna treat them just like I treat them, you know, treat him. Is that you're not gonna just say anything to my kid and think it's okay to say anything to my kid, you know, and that's just how I am.
Anybody here besides Jamari?
I think, who was it, B-Train, I think maybe? Yeah, B-Train, I think, yeah. That was about it, I think.
Well, I guess the refs heard it, they kicked him out.
Yeah, and only one of the refs heard it though. Yeah, only one of the refs.
How old is Justin?
60.
Do you talk to him about this situation?
Yeah, of course he asked me about it.
Yeah. Well, how was that conversation?
Oh man, you get deep. And the conversation was just like, because he asked me what happened. I told him exactly just like I told you guys and things like that. And you know, I just told him that, you know, you can't let people talk to you any way you want to talk to them. I was like, you know, and that was pretty much the gist of our conversation, that people just can't talk to you any way you want to. And Justin, he's probably going to be a nicer guy than I am, but because he grew up he's growing up in a totally different situation, you know, than I did. But at the same time, just let him know that, you know, you gotta stand for something and fall for everything, you know, and you can't let people just talk to you anyway and think that it's okay and it's cool and you're gonna say whatever you're gonna say and then laugh it off. 'Cause that's what happened. If you watch the video, you can see the interaction, and then it was like a smile, like almost like I'm joking with you, but you can't joke with me like that. You know, and stuff like that. So you can see the fans smile to a certain extent, you know what I mean? But you know, you just can't do that. So I just told him that, and I also told him that this stuff still exists, you know, in the country. And now sometimes he goes to Atlantic Shores Christian school, so you know, I guess everybody, you know, Christian faith and stuff. So he don't see a lot of this stuff that maybe I'm talking about, and maybe that's good for him. But at the same time, I'm just letting him know that stuff is still out there, man. Like, don't think it's not. Don't be that green and think that it's not out there. So that was a basic conversation that we had back in the hotel room once I got through my 1,500 messages.
Sorry to jump back. I just want to make sure I clarified this real quick. You said Peden called you.
Mhm.
You didn't answer the first time. Did you guys ever actually talk, or you haven't talked to him
I
yet?
don't want to talk to him.
Okay.
You know, because I think that just the way I am, like, if I got a problem with you, if I get you man to man, if I'm already there, like if we had a problem that we hear about it from across the country with you man to man right in front of each other. So you had more than enough time to do that. You know, I feel like, and I'll stand by it, I feel like the only reason you called me is because it's 7 million views. You know, like that's the way I feel. So I'm not gonna. I have nothing to say to him. If I see him on the road, I have nothing to say. There's nothing to say. You know, for me, from my standpoint.
All right, thank you, Coach.
All right.
Thanks, Coach.